Yeah.
Trevor Siemian, he had 178 passing yards, a touchdown pass, and 2 interceptions in his first start for the Broncos. Siemian's the first quarterback to lead a 10-point fourth-quarter comeback in his first career start since Josh Freeman in 2009. Stephen A., did Denver prove that they can win with Siemian?
I can't believe I'm saying this after just one game, but yeah, I must confess, I was quite impressed with this kid, Trevor Siemian. He showed a lot of poise. He can make the intermediate passes. He can throw the ball deep, Max. And when you consider Demaryius Thomas, who had a really good offseason from everything that I've heard, along with what Emmanuel Sanders can bring to the table, with C.J. Anderson, this is a Kubiak offense. One of the things that I underestimated here, I totally forgot about the troubles Kubiak had last year because his offense is different than what Peyton Manning wanted to run. And so when you look at it from that perspective, having to adjust to Peyton Manning's wishes, then ultimately Peyton Manning getting hurt or getting benched after his 4-interception performance against the Kansas City Chiefs, bringing in Brock Osweiler, having him perform for you for about 6 or 7 games, then getting Peyton Manning back in that game against San Diego. Denver went through a lot last year. Gary Kubiak had to work through a lot last year. And that's entirely different this go-round. They're the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. Their defense is on another level.
Right?
I mean, these brothers are something special. And even though I knew they would be, I just said to myself, where you going to get points from? Then I saw C.J. Anderson running the football. Then I saw Demaryius Thomas catching a pass. I saw Emmanuel Sanders catch 5 passes. I saw Demaryius Thomas catch 4 passes. I mean, I'm just looking at these guys. And Green, he had 4 receptions as well. I'm just looking at it, watching this game last night, and the poise of Trevor Siemian. I have to confess, I'm looking at Trevor Siemian and I'm saying, well, damn, he did look better than Peyton Manning looked last year. It's just one game. Nobody's trying to say he's going to be Peyton Manning. Nobody's trying to say he's going to be better than Peyton Manning. But the Peyton Manning that we saw last year wasn't the Peyton Manning that we saw for the previous 17 years. So as a result, Trevor Siemian is better than that, was better last night, rather, than that product we saw behind center for the Denver Broncos last season. And with this defense looking as much as it did, here's how far I'm willing to go. I was going to pick Kansas City to win the AFC West. I can't say that right now. I can't say that right now. Denver looks special.
I sold you.
Yeah, they did. And let me tell you the thing about Siemian that impressed me the most. He has improvisational ability. That not just in terms of reading what's there and figuring out what he needs to do in the moment that maybe is not scripted or maybe is not his first option, but the way he even gets rid of the ball at times when he slings it, sidearms it, whatever he has to do to make the play. Some of those screens to C.J. Anderson turned out like that. Also, Demaryius Thomas turned out like where you saw things from Siemian that said, that is an NFL quarterback who has the ability to get it done even when things aren't perfect, and they're rarely perfect. You look at Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I'm not saying that they're the overall best receiving core, but I don't know that there's a 1 and 2 or 1 and 1A, because sometimes when you watch them, you go, are we sure Demaryius is better than Emmanuel Sanders? I don't know that there's a team that has 2 as good as those guys. You know, Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker are fine, but Eric, you know, as a pair, they're not as good as Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. And then the defense is special, not only because of the playmakers, and this is going to sound like corny cliche football talk, they don't give up. They just don't give up on themselves. After the first half, you know, at one point it's 17-7. You're like, boy, this is, if you're a Carolina fan, you are confident. Denver's being outplayed. They're just the inferior not so fast. They're not just so quickly the inferior team. They don't give up on themselves. They continue to play hard all game, and the defense is so special that it catches up. And my big takeaway from the game, more than anything, and they discussed this on the broadcast, John Elway, no one's infallible. And John Elway, no one's above criticism. But I'll tell you what, talk about a guy who deserves the benefit of the doubt going forward. I mean, it's unbelievable. You get to the Super Bowl 3 years ago with a team that's all offense and no defense. You get back the year after, or 2 years later, get back to the Super Bowl, incredibly difficult to do, with a completely different kind of identity as a team. It's all defense and no offense. You then start a quarterback who's never thrown an NFL pass in his career after using kind of 2 quarterbacks the year before, losing the guy you've invested time and resources in Osweiler, who you thought was going to be your future, I guess, losing Peyton Manning, maybe the greatest regular season quarterback of all time, and he comes in and helps you win in the Super Bowl. And you win a game like that week 1 against a highly motivated team that people like Stephen A. Smith think have a very good chance to win the Super Bowl. You got to give it to Elway.
Well, I got to give it to Elway, respect him, but it is just one game. Let's not put on the pom-poms too quickly. We want to give respect to the Denver Broncos and recognize the fact that they should be able to win the AFC West. There's still Pittsburgh and New England in the AFC, which we will discuss a little bit later on in the show. But let's also not absolve Carolina's defense from this equation. You had a 10-point lead entering the fourth quarter. You're the reigning NFC champions. You just got smacked around in the Super Bowl. Your offense gave you a 10-point lead. You were up 17-7, even though Cam, costly interceptions, you've got to think about that. Bottom line is that this defense should have been able to do a better job. A guy by the name of Trevor Siemian, who we both concede was more than respectable and impressive, particularly with his poise. Bottom line is, this is a guy that was drafted in the 7th round of 2015, okay, didn't throw a pass the entire year last year. In his first regular season game of his career out of Northwestern, okay, shows up in the Mile High City for the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, opening night for him against the team they met in the Super Bowl, who had all of these guys returning in their starting lineup outside of Josh Norman. And you lose a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Don't you have to credit Kubiak for that? I mean, you tried to give him credit earlier, and Kubiak is an Elway hiring that looked a little bit at the beginning like, what are you doing?
Well, wait a minute.
You're hiring your boy, and he's brilliant enough to make lemonade out of lemons.
Well, he's smart enough to listen to Elway. Congrats to him, because I damn sure never saw that stuff in Houston. Again, I'm not going to throw the pom-poms out there too much on that level, but again, I'm going to get back to Carolina's defense. Because I'm thinking about Carolina's defense. Absence of Josh Norman, what are you going to be able to do collectively? Their front 7 is elite. We understand that. We get that. They can get that to passer. They can defend the pass. The interior in between the seams, we know they are no joke with Kuechly and Thomas. We get all of that. But if you got a 10-point lead against what essentially amounts to a rookie quarterback, and you lose that game, that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing.
Okay, they lost the game, but Stephen A., again, they lost the game, and Kubiak ices the kicker on a field goal that would have won the game. The game was won, and Kubiak pulled that out of his hat,
I'm talking about the 10 points you got. I'm talking about the 11 points you gave up.
That's football. It's not like, the other side has players, too. They have a plan, too.
Stop it. Your defense. I mean, what are you going to say next? There's cloudy skies when it's going to rain? I mean, who the hell doesn't know that? Of course there's other guys on the other side.
The Panthers were beating the Super Bowl champions and then put themselves back in position to win the game.
They gave up 14 points.
Well, yeah, you're going to give up points sometimes.
To a rookie quarterback in the fourth quarter. That's a problem.
What's the final score of the game, Stephen A.?
It doesn't matter. It's 21-20. I know that. But you don't give up a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to a rookie quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
Well, occasionally it happens, and we've seen it from rookies.
I got it. I remember that. I remember that, Max. Occasionally it happens. No big deal.
We've seen this from rookie quarterbacks in recent years. It's not like the old days where everyone had to hold the clipboard for years and years, although, Siemian did it last year.
A rookie 7th rounder?
Yeah, not exactly a rookie.
What do you mean he's not exactly rookie? He didn't throw a pass in a regular season until last night.
But he still had experience in the league.
So,
and we've
he was practicing. He practiced. That what you gonna come with me next? Oh, he practiced a lot. He had a lot of practice time. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, it makes a difference.
I thought that we said, look, practice. You can't emulate game situations, particularly when you're going up against an elite team. What happened to that notion? You trying to tell me you're throwing that out the window now?
He played well. He's on an excellent team. They fell down. They didn't quit. largely
Oh,
because of their
goodness.
defense and Kubiak's offensive scheme and the fact that Siemian played very well.
Tony
They
Robbins.
came back.
I apologize.
Ultimately,
I apologize.
Ultimately,
I
they
apologize,
should have
Tony Robbins.
lost the game on the field goal.
Okay, I got it.
Kubiak also pulled that one out.
Max, you're such a beautiful man, Max. You're just such a nice guy. I mean, Mr. Tony Robbins himself, all enthusiastic. Let's see the silver lining. Let's find it there. Really? That's what you're doing? Oh, yeah, give him credit where credit is due. Oh, please. The defense needed to show up.
You lose a great game, which this was the game everyone was waiting for in the Super Bowl last year, that you lose a great and thrilling and nail-biting kind of game. Week 1 to the defending Super Bowl champions who have shown in the last several games to have your number, and it comes down to a kick that you make.
Hold on.
I
want to address a point that you just made. This was the Super Bowl we were looking for last year, right?
Yes.
Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Well, who was the quarterback last year? It happened to be somebody named Peyton Manning. You're not expecting that from Trevor Siemian.
Well, here's the question. Okay, here's the question for you. And you kind of hinted at it earlier.
And make sure it's not a rhetorical one. Go ahead.
We all thought last year that, look, the quarterback play can't get any worse for the Broncos. And then when Siemian's name comes up, it's like, wait, he's starting? The quarterback play somehow just got worse for the Broncos. Then we saw the game last night. Let me ask you a question. Based on what you saw from Osweiler and Peyton Manning last year, and it's a very small sample size, but based on what you saw from Siemian last night, has the quarterback position gone down, stayed the same, or gone up a little bit for the Broncos?
Are we philosophizing now? I mean, I don't know. 1 minute you're Mr. Motivational, Mr. Tony Robbins himself. Now we're philosophizing. I don't understand it, Max. At the end of the day, he's a. Excuse me. What's the question? I couldn't remember. I mean,
quarterback play.
What the point?
Quarterback play. Has it gotten better or worse from last year, based on what you've seen so far?
Based on what I've seen so far, it looked better for one night. No doubt about that. But hold on, wait a minute. How is it that y'all micro? What you laughing about, Molly? What's that? I mean, what you talking about? I'm just saying.
Your Honor,
what's the deal?
I rest my case.
There is no resting of your case. You don't have a case. Trevor Siemian is a 7th-round pick who didn't throw a single pass in the regular season of 2015. He threw his first regular season pass last night. And you're against the Carolina Panthers, and you hold no accountability towards their defense.
But the quarterback play's gotten better, right?
Oh, Max is already getting under your skin.
Please.
This is good stuff.
You know what? He likes to do that too. It's all right.
Hey, props to Mark Schlereth, who sat here yesterday and said the Broncos would win.
Oh,
and all of us
please.
kind of look.
He lucked
Why
up.
are you so angry?
He lucked up. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm a very happy man.
Oh.
I'm just because people annoy me doesn't mean I'm not happy. I'm not angry.
You're
I am
easily
jealous.
annoyed, though.
I am
Easily annoyed.
jealous of Max because he's in L.A. and I'm not. But other than that, I'm fine.
Max is alone. We're together.
I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning today, all right?
Oh, love you too, Stephen A. All right, including the playoffs, the Broncos have now won 6 straight.
He's complaining about getting up 4:30.
Yeah,
Really? We're so sorry. We're so sorry for you, Max. We're so sorry. Oh, please.
Over that same span, the Panthers are 3-3. Time to make some picks. It should be an interesting race to win the NFC this season. The NFC East looks wide open after Tony Romo's latest injury. The Pack and the Vikings are expected to be top contenders from the North. Arguably, 2 of the best teams in the NFL are out west with Seattle and Arizona. And Cam and the Panthers are looking to repeat as conference champs. Max, I want to start with you. Which teams will make the playoffs in the NFC?
I'm going almost chalk here. I hate to do it, but Seattle, yes. Arizona, yes. They may be the 2 best teams in football. I like Seattle to go all the way this year. The Packers with Jordy Nelson back, of course. Who, by the way, they may be the best team in football. Let's see how this pans out. The Panthers, who we just saw last night, should have won that game, but okay. The Vikings, I like to get back, even with a brand-new quarterback in Bradford, because I don't see where else the team has changed very much. They had a lot of success last year. And someone's got to come out of the NFC East. I believe that's going to be the New York Football Giants. Washington, on paper, may be more balanced. I like what the Giants did on defense in the offseason. And again, really, if not for very fluky kind of collapses last year with an older coach who seemed to mismanage the clock, they had 10 wins last year. I mean, that's a 6-win team that really should have won 10 games. So I like the Giants to come out of the NFC East.
I've got Carolina coming out of the South. I've got the Seahawks coming out of the West. I've got that bad man that he is, Aaron Rodgers, coming out of the North. And much to my chagrin, as nauseated as I am, even with Dak Prescott as the quarterback, I've got the Dallas Cowboys coming out of the NFC East because I think the Washington Redskins are allergic to prosperity and their running game is suspect, and I don't know about them right now. And I don't believe in the Eagles, and the Giants' defense has to show me that they've returned to respectability before I'm willing to give them.
Defense?
Excuse me, I know that, but the running game is going to stall a lot of things because they'll engage in clock management and really chalk up time in that regard, Max. Listen and learn, brother. Now let's get to the wild card spot.
Okay.
Arizona is definitely the wild card.
Okay.
All right, my one wild card. I'm going to go with Sam Bradford and the Minnesota Vikings as my other.
Right.
There's no wild card coming out of the South. There's no wild card coming out of the East. I'm going to have the Minnesota Vikings as the wild card in the NFC North, and I'm going to go with Arizona.
You got it. So only one disagreement there. You're going Cowboys, and Max is going Giants. Let's go to the other side here in the AFC. So the Patriots are, again, heavy favorites to win the conference, of course. The Bengals and Steelers are expected to battle for a top spot in the North. Can Andrew Luck stay healthy, get the Colts back in the playoffs? And the Broncos looking good last night in their quest for a repeat. Max, start us off again. Who's making the playoffs in the AFC?
Pats are in, as they are every year. So are the Steelers, who, if they get hot, look out, and the defense will be the tipping point, as it is with several of these teams we're talking about. The Bengals are such a well-rounded team, and I really wanted to see what they did if Andy Dalton was healthy last year in the playoffs. I think this is the year they win at least a playoff game. KC is another one. That's a really well-balanced team. The only thing they don't have is a quarterback who can throw it down the field. Denver, and I like Indianapolis. I'm very tempted to take the Jags. They couldn't have had a better offseason on the defensive side, but a 5-win team all the way. Andrew Luck's healthy. I like the Colts.
I'm going with the Patriots, the Steelers, the Broncos, and the Houston Texans. I'm a place I don't feel. I'm just not in the mood to agree with Max Kellerman. I'm liking him less and less. I don't want to agree with him.
Okay.
I'm gonna bet against Indianapolis because of their defense, though, because I agree with him about Andrew Luck. I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans in the South.
Yep.
As my wild card, I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs out west.
Okay.
And I gotta go with the New York Jets. I think the New York Jets are going to squeeze into the playoffs. I'm thinking the New York Jets and the Kansas City Chiefs as my wild card. I am tired of believing in the Cincinnati Bengals only for their ineptitude, their stupidity, or their undisciplined tendencies getting in the way. They're the most talented team.
Bengals, Jets, Sunday. We get to start settling this Sunday.
Well, I don't know about that. It's the first game. We'll see. But I'm gonna believe in the Jets first before the Bengals because I question their discipline, not their talent, their discipline. I question the Bengals.
Yep, that's fair. I still like them over the Jets, and I like them over the Jets Sunday, by the way.
You're probably right, but I'm still not going with it.
I'm just so excited we have real football. Max, have a great weekend. Stephen A., you guys too.